Alright, so today I'm going to be going over how to install / remove a turbo on a stock duramax. So this is kind of what it looks like when your turbo's out. You got your turbo mount bolts here. These are all 17mm bolts. You got your up pipe here for your passenger side, and I removed the driver's side up pipe to have access to the oil drain tube here. This is your oil feed tube. A few other things you have to remove to get the turbo out is your glow plug control module in the bracket. I just moved that out of the way to try to get the heat shielding out of the way. Your intercooler pipes, and you have two coolant lines, one right here and one that connects right here. So that's really all you got to pull out of the way, aside from a few sensors. One over here, you have your IGV control over here somewhere. Right here it comes to this bracket and that connector right there. Right here, that one. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and put my oil drain tube gasket down. Make sure before you try to reinstall this turbo, you have the necessary gaskets for your up pipes. So you need two gaskets here for your up pipes, and then the up pipe where it connects to the exhaust manifold over there, and your oil drain gasket. So you want to make sure that this is real clean down here, which I cleaned it up as best as I really could. There's oil in this hole, so it's hard to get it perfectly clean, but a new gasket will take care of all of that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and place that new gasket there. It's a little funky, but it'll do the trick. And I'm not gonna be able to really film while I put the turbo in, so I'm just gonna pick this up back when I have the turbo in. So we got the turbo in. It's a little bit of a bastard. Just be careful for this oil feed line, and if you leave the switch on, be careful of this switch. Everything's lined up pretty good. You can see the mounting holes right there. The other one's right down there. The third one's right there. They're not quite lined up, but the most important thing is, I forgot to say earlier, before you put the turbo in, you need to place this up pipe, this driver's side up pipe, back here in some sort of fashion, along with the heat shielding, if you're gonna put that back on. Also, there's our oil drain. We got that seated on there first thing, and the reason I do that first is because this heat shield gets in the way of that, and the heat shield also gets in the way of the bottom bolt for the up pipe, which I don't know if I'm gonna really be able to get you guys to see, but there you go. That's where your driver's side up pipe plugs in, and then that's where this one plugs in. Rerouted my vane controller line back to under there, under this thing, and down to there. It's where those blue things are connected. So I was able to get that gasket in there pretty easily. What I did was I just slipped the gasket down into until I could put the bolt through the top right. And then I just kind of slowly lowered it down here until I could slip this one through, and then the bottom one was already lined up. You're gonna want to get this heat shield out of the way as much as you can in order to get these 12mm nuts. So that's all tightened down. It looks like my bolt holes are lined up. There's actually this metal piece here is a big washer for the whole turbo and all the mounts. So as you can see, it was tricky, but you kind of just have to guess. And it looks like that hole's lined up and ready for a bolt. That hole down there, that's a real tricky one. You're gonna have to use basically just a 6-inch extension or 8-inch, whatever that is, a swivel and a short socket. You're gonna put it like a rubber glove in there to kind of retain the bolt as you kind of weasel it down there, and you're going to want to use a screwdriver to come from the back side and kind of guide all the tools and the bolt into the hole. And just be careful not to cross thread it. And we got one more bolt hole right here, straight down. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these bolts into the mount holes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up my pipe bolts, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the gasket on and tighten this up pipe down. But make sure you don't put the heat shielding on until you've tightened all the up pipe bolts, because this bottom one right here, you're not gonna be able to get it. That heat shield's gonna be in the way. Otherwise I would have never taken it off in the first place. So once I get done with that, I'll update you guys on what to do next. Alright, so I actually got all my mount bolts pretty easily using a short 17mm socket, a universal joint, an 8-inch extension, a 3-inch extension, and a swiveling ratchet wrench. The swiveling ratchet wrench was kind of the all-star this mount bolt situation, because with a straight wrench I couldn't really rotate it where I needed to, but with the swivel one I was able to, you know, move it where I needed to go, even in different places. So here I'd be down here, and then I'll finish moving up. But what you want to do is get like a piece of plastic or something real thin and put it between the bolt head and the socket. You don't want to have too much material in there. That will keep you from pulling the tool back out of the tough to reach place. You just want something that'll just hold the bolt in there enough for you to kind of finagle it around down there. But as you can see, I got this mount bolt done. This one's the easiest one, so I saved it for last. This bad Larry right here, this one's a real bitch. If you can see my finger, that bolt right there, that's the hard one to get to, but you can just kind of slink the socket down there, and that plastic will hold the bolt right in place, and stick a screwdriver through the back here and kind of guide it into the hole, and you'll be in good hands pretty soon. And then obviously this last one back here, another one that's pretty easy. You can start threading that one by hand. So I also went ahead and connected my radiator hoses, or my coolant hoses. I'm gonna go ahead and switch out the clamp style ones to the worm gear style ones. I don't like the clamp style because the tabs tend to bend and they're just a pain in the ass in general. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab some smaller worm gear style ones like this. Go ahead and put it here, and on this one right here. Okay, so I got my up pipes torqued, and I got the banjo washer on this pipe. Be careful when you're doing this pipe. Slip the banjo washer over the fitting and then stick the bolt through, and make sure you just move this into the correct location so you don't cross thread these threads down here, and it should go in pretty easily. These 4 bolts up top are easy to get. You can use a deep socket or a small extension, and a 12mm 12-point socket. You gotta have 12 points to get these in and out. The hardest one is this bottom one down here. You gotta get the right socket and extension combo to fit a socket wrench in between here and your bolt down here. I'm gonna see if you can see it. Maybe it's a real bitch. So that one was the toughest one to fit the tool in there. This one right here wasn't too bad. All of them really weren't that bad, but it just takes some patience. We're gonna go ahead and put this heat shielding on, do that glow plug and tool module like I said. I'm gonna go make sure I get these clamps on here before I go ahead and install the intake. Alright, so did a bunch of stuff. We got the down pipe on there with the clamp in the down position towards the driver's side. We got the heat shielding on the up pipe down there. I used a 10mm ratchet wrench to get all the heat shielding bolts. Over here I used just a 10mm ratchet wrench on this top heat shield. bolt, and then down here we used actually 10mm small socket on a 1/4 inch drive socket wrench. That's all pretty easy. I mean, if you don't have the right tools, it might not be easy, but if you just take your time and lay down on your engine, or you know, a lot of access from this wheel well is pretty crucial to obviously even just installing the downpipe itself. I was able to jam the downpipe up here with the heat shield, not attached, but pretty much laid on it, ready for bolts to go in. So I did all that, and I put my glow plug control module mounting bracket on. Keep in mind that it clamps onto this line here, and I'm still searching for these hose clamps, so I can't put my intake on yet. But there's not much left. We just got the intercooler pipe, finishing up the glow plug control module, putting the actual intake filter on and connecting it to the intake pipe here. Then we got the resonator and this whatever connects here. I'm not really sure what that's called, to be honest, but it's gonna be a pain, I know that, because it connects down here under this pipe, and there's only one way to really do that, and it's to brute force it. See that hole there, and then there's the mount screw, and then it comes all the way over to here. Alright, so I added my coolant line clamps here and here, and I went ahead and I added my dipstick up behind the downpipe, and then I topped off my coolant, and I topped off my transmission fluid. I'll go ahead and show you right where you need to bolt the dipstick on. So you kind of gotta squeeze the dipstick up through here. This is the dipstick tube right here. So you gotta squeeze it up there. And you're gonna wanna pull it up through here, but on the other side of these two hoses to get it up far enough. Because there's about 4 inches in here. So you gotta get it up far enough to slide down that tube. Once you get it down that tube, move it back to the other side of these two hoses. So have it back on this side where it is now, and push it down until you and you see this bracket right here. The dipstick just slides back between these two nuts. So you just loosen these nuts, and this bracket pops straight up in the air. And that's how you do your dipstick. Alright, so I connected my intercooler pipe. I installed the intake into the turbo. There's that worm gear clamp that you guys have seen. I zip tied my wiring harness here to this bracket. I made sure to reroute this wire right here and bolt that nut, and then reconnect this wiring harness right here. And now all I have left is to put my resonator on and my actual intake. So the resonator just goes on real easy, like. There's a bracket right there. Oh, 1 second. Don't forget, I also had to put this thing on. This pipe here. It has a 10mm down here. You can't see. My phone's dying, so I don't have flash, but there's a 10mm down there. And then there's another one over here. It just snaps in. And also, there's a clamp that brings it onto the intake. Alright guys, that's about it. So I just threw my intake in, right? Connected the intake sensor, connected it up here, installed the resonator, and now I just gotta reconnect my batteries. You always want to disconnect your batteries before you start a job. especially when you're moving parts around like the glow plug control module. Sorry, I'm running out of battery, so my camera flash isn't working anymore, but now all I gotta do is start the truck, listen for any leaks, and of course reinstall my wheel well plastic covers, and that's it. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and comment and I'll answer as soon as I can.